Ingrid Bergman was one of the most important actresses of the 20th century, and she happens to be my mom. She was born August 29, 1915, and she died August 29, 67 years later of cancer. You might be surprised that Mama was born and died in the same days, but I am not, because Mother was very orderly. She was Swedish and very, very organized. And in fact, she organized everything she had in her life, and she left us with an enormous archive full of letters, photographs, diary, contracts, posters, scripts. Photographs were very important to her because she was the daughter of a photographer. Justus Bergman photographed her when she was a baby. Mama, when she was a teenager, stole the camera and took some self-portrait of herself. Already you could see that she was an actress. And in fact, I think that the seed of loving acting and loving film came from the fact that the father was a photographer and she loved the camera. Of course, being recognized as one of the greatest beauty of the century, she was photographed by the greatest photographers of the century, from Horst to Gordon Parks, from Penn to Avedon, but also by photographers like Robert Capa, who didn't photograph beautiful women generally. He photographed war. But Bob Capa and my mother had an intimate relationship, a very close relationship. And in the book we found at the Magnum Archive, we published photos of Capa that were never seen before, were never published before. Mother made 44 films, and the books collects photos from the stills from the film, behind the scene, the publicity photo, the Oscars she received. She won 3 Oscars in her life. She was nominated numerous times.
Something I said, oh, I don't feel like that. I don't think I can give you that kind of emotion. And you sat there and you said, Ingrid, fake it.
She worked with the most handsome men you can imagine, from Gary Cooper to Spencer Tracy, or maybe he wasn't very beautiful, but he was charming, Cary Grant, Gregory Peck, and some of the leading men, like Yul Brynner, took the most charming photos of my mom that I loved. Maybe Mama in front of an actor friend had less barrier, and you can see her wit. She worked with directors like Alfred Hitchcock, but also with Jean Renoir. She worked with Victor Fleming, but also with Ingrid Bergman, from George Cukor to Roberto Rossellini. My father, with whom she made 5 films, had 3 children, including me. Of course, the love story with my father caused an incredible scandal. My mother was chased out of America, was persona non grata for years, where she couldn't come back to the United States. This scandal really signed my mother's life tremendously. And for one thing, we were always followed around by paparazzi who tried to photograph us with long lenses inside a house. Oh, we couldn't stand them. But now, preparing the book, the paparazzi photo was also another facet of photography of this century. This book for my brother Roberto, my sister Ingrid, and Pia has been the occasion to celebrate Mama, who would be 100 years old in 2015. Of course, it's an homage to her, but working at it with Lothar Schirmer, the great publisher who we selected to work with because of his sensitivity to photography and art, I realized that he was also the portrait of a woman in her century. Photographs of when she was a child, to an adolescent, a young woman, a mature woman, an older woman, all the way to her death. And he was, most of all, a portrait of this art form that existed only in the last a little bit more than 100 years, that is film and photography.